India and China, the world's two most populous nations, each armed with nuclear weapons, are in the middle of their most severe crisis in decades, and it's unclear how both nations will step back from the brink. At least 20 Indian troops were killed in a skirmish with Chinese forces in the Galwan Valley, a contentious territory in the high-altitude Ladakh region, on June 15 and 16, according to the Indian Army. Meanwhile, there are unconfirmed reports that there were 43 casualties among Chinese troops. Still, it's the deadliest clash between the two countries on the border since 1967. For about 80 years, India and China have quarreled over a roughly 2,200-mile frontier spanning the Himalayas, occasionally going to war over their competing claims. Despite 20-plus rounds of negotiations, they haven't come close to agreeing on most of the boundaries, providing a continuous source of tension between Beijing and New Delhi. The latest flare-up began last month in the Galwan Valley. India's government said that earlier this month, unprovoked Chinese troops threw rocks at Indian soldiers in the western Himalayas. Beijing counters that claim, instead blaming Indian forces for illegally walking into Chinese territory. Whatever the reason, a combined 100-plus soldiers from both sides sustained injuries during two skirmishes on May 5 and May 9. There were a couple of other small fights, leaving dozens injured at 2 points along the 2,200-mile border in recent weeks. Even so, experts hoped that would be the worst of it, hoping there wouldn't be a repeat of the 1967 border fight that led to hundreds dead. But now the ongoing spat in Ladakh has turned deadly. Earlier on Tuesday, the Indian Army said 3 soldiers died during a violent face-off with Chinese troops. It turns out that was a very low estimate, with the Army increasing the death toll to 20 troops hours later. Importantly, Indian forces note that sub-zero temperatures played a role in why some soldiers succumbed to their injuries. Chinese forces, meanwhile, also noted their troops suffered casualties, but it's unclear if they were wounded or if some died. There's still a lot we don't know. For one, it's not clear how the fight started. Some reports noted there was an avalanche or that both sides fought with sticks in a melee, and both sides are blaming the other for instigating the skirmish by crossing the disputed border. India is very clear that all its activities are always within the Indian side, read a statement from India's foreign ministry. We expect the same of the Chinese side. Indian troops crossed the disputed border and conducted illegal activity, and deliberately launched provocative attacks, triggering violent physical conflicts between the two sides, resulting in casualties, the Chinese military claimed. The facts, of course, matter. But either way, experts say the ramifications will be the same. These two powers will struggle to stand down from this fight.